Now we burn incense in regard to the precepts, meditation, and emancipation. May the light and fragrant cloud of this incense pervade the Dharma world. We offer this incense to the countless Buddhas of the worlds of the 10 directions. May we be able to see, hear, and partake of the fragrance of the wonderful world of tranquil extinction. Dojoge. Tomboy. Thank you all very much. Coming today, Dolly, good to see you. Good to see you, Robin. Good to see you, Keith. Joshin, Keishan, Kaishan. Thank you all for coming. Today we'll be doing Shodaigyo. The reason that I want to do Shodaigyo in these days leading up to December the 8th is because it is our way to kind of connect with our original practice that the Buddha taught us, which was this sitting and seated quiet meditation, reflection, jhana. And the practice that I have developed for myself is I had made a vow to the Buddha that I would sit in meditation each night leading up to from December the 1st of December to December the 8th, each night leading up to the celebration of the Buddha's enlightenment. And I feel that when we sit in silent meditation, we are most able to connect with the same process that the Buddha did. However, I do feel that that same process at times can be a path towards confusion and delusion when you sit in nothing but meditation, because I think that in the end, the connotation of sitting in meditation, sitting in samadhi, can become a way for us to selfishly pursue our own path for ourselves without realizing that this entire process is only actualized by being of benefit to other sentient beings. It does not matter how wise you are if you don't share the knowledge. And what made the Buddha special was not coming to enlightenment. Right? Because according to Buddhism, there have been many Buddhas. Right? We even have a whole category called Pratyeka Buddhas, private Buddhas. So the becoming enlightened and aware is not the thing that made Siddhartha Gautama special. What made him special was he got up and he turned the wheel of the Dharma. He showed his boundless compassion for all sentient beings by realizing that this gift was not for himself. In the myth, Brahma, God, comes down, the All-Father, Odin, we can call him whatever we want, comes down and says to the Buddha after his enlightenment, after being tempted the final time by Mara, who says to him, yeah, you're the Buddha, man. You got it. But these human beings, man, they're stupid. They're selfish. They're evil. They're totally screwed up. They'll never get it. You might as well just sit here in like bliss until you die. Like, that would be such a better idea. And this is when God comes down and says, no, please. You cannot keep this teaching for yourself. This is the teaching that will soothe the passions of all sentient beings, including gods, that will save all beings, including spirits and gods, and those that are omniscient, omnipresent, and omnipotent as well. And this is a simple man who does this. So it was not his attainment of an understanding of the nature of the universe and cause and effect that made him special. It was that he told others how to do it. And he did it over a series of 40 years. Initially, when the Buddha gets up from the Bodhi tree, he gives his first sermon, and according to, sort of traditionally held order of the teachings, and we could talk to McCormick Shonen, a minister, a Nichiren Shu minister, who's a real expert in this. He would debate and say that it was probably later Mahayana scripture. But so the story goes, according to Tendai, is that the first sutra that the Buddha preached was the Flower Garland Sutra, which was just mind-blowing. It was like saying to people, oh, there's Buddhas inside atoms, and there's atoms everywhere, and there's Buddhas in a billion worlds. I mean, it's like basically like string theory and quantum mechanics and all of these things just like told to the very first person. And they basically are like, wait, what are you talking about? Right? Completely nonsensical. And the Buddha, like any good teacher, understands immediately, uh-oh, I'm teaching a graduate level course in this. Like, these people need basic teachings. And they need to be led in a very systematic way to the understanding of the Dharma. And because the Dharma is so varied, it can be expressed in a myriad of ways. We need to start with Dharma 101. And he gives the Four Noble Truths. Right? All life is suffering. There is a cause to suffering. There is an end to suffering. That end is the Eightfold Noble Path, which eventually evolves into the 6 paramitas, which we have listed over here on the side over here. The first of which being gratitude. And it's that gratitude that is the gateway to Buddhahood. Not the blinding realization for yourself and the ability to get rid of attachments. But it's the gratitude that each being has the same infinite potential, that our purpose is to awaken that bodhicitta, that desire for enlightenment, to spread the seed of Buddhism. when we say Namu, Namaste, we are saying I take refuge, I honor, I humbly give, I revere, I bow. Okay? To the Buddha and every being, every sentient being. That's the secret teaching of the Buddha, is that this is accessible to all of us. Every being has this within them. There's a million parables. It's the gem that's been dusty, that just needs to be washed off. It's the gem that was sewn into the corner of the jacket that the friend had. Does anyone know these stories? If you don't, read your sutra. We'll go over these stories. But enlightenment is not something that you achieve. Right? It's something you already have. It's something you already possess. You're not deficient. You've already got it. Like you literally have it within you right now to actualize your Buddhahood, to actualize your Buddha nature. Right now, you have that infinite capacity. It's not necessary to appeal to a savior or God to make it happen. Happens now of your own volition. And that's the blinding realization of the Buddha, is that we have the power already. That's freaking scary. But we also have the blame. Right? We spend a lot of time putting it off on other people. Circumstances screwed me. This happened, that happened, this person did that person did that. If I wasn't born into this situation, no. Buddhism tells us it's all our fault. We take ownership of our karma. Why? Because it really is? Who knows? But if you just accept it, then it allows you to move on and deal with the situation as it is. Because regardless of whether or not it's fair or not fair in life, you still got to deal with it. And you still got to move on. Joshin's dealing with that right now. Right? Literally having attacks right now and getting through it. Can we understand that? No, because you can't really understand anyone else's pain or suffering. That's why we can't say like a hangnail is less or worse than an operation, because we don't know somebody else's suffering. But what we do understand is that we all suffer. Right? That we can have that great gratitude and compassion for each other because we know that suffering is something we all share. But just as suffering is something we all share, so is desire. And the desire to end suffering is the thing that motivates us to start Buddhism. But what we realize is it's not freedom from suffering, it's freedom in suffering. We're constantly changing, ever-evolving beings. Our bodies are bubbling and gurgling, and there's nothing solid. Gratitude. But the thing that we also have to take into account is that it's only through study and practice that we can actualize Buddhism. You can have all of the great ideas that you want, and you can feel all good and happy about yourself as a Buddhist, but if you don't practice, you don't actualize it. You're not doing anything. You're feeling good, that's cool, like I'm glad you're feeling good, but it's only, as Nichiren Shonin says, through study and practice. And the Buddha himself says it's only through study and practice. And so this time period of the 1st through the 8th, for me, is to remind myself, it's only through study and practice, through intense self-betterment training, that I can be a better service to other beings. I'm not let off the hook for the fact that I'm focusing on giving my merit to all sentient beings. When we chant Namu Myoho Renge Kyo, it immediately turns our practice from the selfish practice of I am going to attain enlightenment to I am going to help others attain enlightenment. So that's why when we do our Shodagyo practice, that's why I think it's so important, because it's absolutely freaking important to sit meditation. It is. I just believe it in my core. I came from Zen originally. I just truly believe that sitting meditation is the one way that we can all actualize the exact same thing that the Buddha did. But I also think that it's also a way through the labyrinth of delusion at times. That we get lost in our heads, we get lost in guilt, delusion, all sorts of like fantasy, and rapture that we can only experience but we can't hold on to. And how do we deal with that, especially when we don't have enlightened teachers all around us all the time helping us? We go directly to the eternal Buddha, Namu. Because then what we're doing is that we are reminding ourselves within this austere Shugyo training for ourselves that we are focused on doing that training not for ourselves, but to be of more benefit to other beings, to dedicate all of that merit. And we do the training so that we can better see when we're off. Like me today, when my cat jumped in the tree and pulled the tree down. I got to see myself like right there, just like. But the nice thing was that because of my practice, I was also able to step outside of myself in the midst of freaking out and laugh at myself and say, wow, this is you freaking out, man. Like, you're all attached to all this stuff. Like, settle down. The tree fell over. Freaking out isn't going to put the tree back up vertical. Right? And it's not the cat's fault. You brought something from outside that looked like it was really cool. And you put a lot of twinkly, shiny stuff on it. Why the heck wouldn't the cat want to get at it? So I realized my own embarrassment, being like, oh my gosh, I'm going to go give this sermon. I'm going to talk to these people about being all calm. And here I am freaking out over this tree. Right? So, I had to laugh. Because I understand Ichinen and Sons, and I understand that in a single thought moment, I could go from hell mind to Buddha mind. Like that. And there's no hindrance. It's the lightning spark between the flint and the steel that Zen talks about. It's all right there. So enjoy these next few days leading up to Bodhi Day. Because for me, after the 8th, it's about mission, right? So it's spending these 8 days being introspective, trying to prepare myself better for insight, for understanding. And then after the 8th, it's wheels down, and it's time to turn that wheel of the Dharma for the Buddha, And that's kind of my personal thing that I'm trying to figure out my way through this Western tradition of the holiday season of December, whether it's Judaism or Christianity, paganism, too. So let's do Shodaigyo together, and let's really focus on being internal and realize that when you're doing meditation, that the Buddha says in the Agama Sutras, that there are 4 things that we need to do in meditation, and you can just kind of divide it into 25% of your time. 25% of your effort is following your breathing, just in and out, just following your breathing. 25% of your effort is just feeling that kind of openness, that everything is empty and has lots of potential, but nothing necessarily needs to be given a name. 25% should be given to the idea that our awareness needs to be expansive and include all beings. And 25% should be being nice to yourself. Please stop saying those negative things to yourself in your head. I'm such a loser. I'm this. I'm that. Oh, I'll never get this. Be nice to yourself, especially during meditation. If you're a child, you wouldn't say these things to a child. That would hurt them. That would hurt their development. Don't hurt your development. Don't be mean to yourself. Be nice. Don't be, don't spare the rod all the time, like be realistic with yourself. That's what Buddhism is about. Be honest with yourself. Oh, gosh, I did this, and own it. But don't be nasty to yourself. Nurture yourself. Please put your hands in Gasho. Dojo-kan. Perceiving the dojo. Know this place in which we find ourselves now is a dojo, a place of Buddhist training. All Buddhas come to this place and attain perfect enlightenment. All Buddhas come to this place and turn the wheel of the Dharma. All Buddhas come to this place and enter into Nirvana. Onmon Sanki, the three treasures. It is difficult to be born as a human being. I have now realized such a birth. To hear the teaching of the Buddha is difficult. I have now been able to hear it. I take refuge in the Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha. Namu Myo Renge Kyo. Please place your hands in the Hokkai Join, Cosmic Realm Mudra. During Joshin-gyo, follow your breathing. If you are working on one of the numbered breathing routines, feel free to do that. Otherwise, do Shikantaza, just sitting. Tongue on the roof of your mouth, breathe in and out through your nose, roll your shoulders back, spine erect, hands in your lap, right hand, left hand inside right. Joshin-gyo.
Namu
Place your hands in Hokai Join. Cosmic Run Mudra. Now we begin Jin Shingyo. Silent meditation to feel the sublime Dharma of the Odai Moku, the preciousness of life. Oh, Jin Shingyo. We dedicate our merit to those in sickness and distress, as well as those who have passed. Those in sickness and distress that we remember and dedicate our merit to are all the victims of terrorism throughout the world, all the victims of fires, winds, floods, and other natural disasters throughout the world. Frank Hardaway and James Conklin, Martin Hardaway, Louis Dingler, the people of Puerto Rico, Stacy Perdue, Lindsay, Anita Cohen, Dan Monheim, Maureen Frame, Christy Cox Marski, apologize, Kim Williams, Janet Williams, Richard Weinman, Misako Brainerd, Melissa Bowman, Michael Dean Ritchie, Manny Figueroa and Chavi, Aunt Bonnie Hours, Marjorie Hours, Gail Bull, Jay, Anna King, and McAndrew, Laureen, Joshin Cushman, Brutus Todd, Marissa and Renee Hardaway, Melissa and Madeline Schoaf, Dennis Sullivan, Ashley and Sean Waldron, Monica Shim, Megan Shim, Clarence Shim, Nadine Morsch, David Normandan, Dirk Patton, Damien Reddick, Wendy Prevost, Jason Wellman, and Tristan and Xander Kroll. We also remember those who have passed. We remember in the morning Amy and Maria Valentin, CP and Augustus Kroll, Albert Rivas and Yolanda Rivas, Elaine and Joe Winter, Terry Paquin, Bill Mearson, Hart Sensei, Jack Parker, Cosco Jordan, Errol Scott, Cheryl Cushman, Aunt Barbara, Wayne, Ronnie Yogetsu Sullivan, Dennis Sullivan, members of the Schoaf family, members of the Thibault family, members of the Krasnowski family, members of the Benuski family, Michael Maffei, Andrew Williams, Charles Bull, Helen Lawson, Dr. Peter Bowen, Maria Araujo, Donald Gregory, Tico, Josephine and Frutuso Abad, Shay, Roca, Ali Usul, Scoop Bean Cheese, Stella Hitchcock, Rex, Beef, and Star, Janice Goudreau, Zen Master Ryokan, Daikyu, Morrissey family, the Bigelow family, the Kroll family, the Cedarman Kobayashi family, the Jordan family, mother of Juanita Young, Jean Knott, Deidre Hossick, Nicole O'Brien, as well as all of those who have no one to pray for them today. We respect you deeply. You will all be able to practice the way of bodhisattvas and become Buddhas. May the merits we have accumulated by this offering be distributed among all living beings, and may we and all other living beings attain the enlightenment of the Buddha. Namu Myo Renge Kyo. Namu Myo Renge Kyo. Namu Myo Renge Kyo. Right high. Buso. Yui Gan. Venerable ones, remember us. Be where you like and come again out of your compassion towards us. Thank you all very much. I couldn't practice if I didn't have you. So thank you all very much. We're going to take our picture today. Later, we'll take care of the candles and we'll set up the table. We have rice and kimchi and I'm sure something delectable as well. So please and thank you. And thank you for those who joined in out there in